Thank you so much, Glenda, for your excellent and insightful instruction, which outlining the objectives and the focus of this session. And let us now begin with the panel one. And I think during the many years and past few days, we have already learned that the sound policy and the targeted action are so very important foundations for translating the clean air goals into measurable and long-term improvements. Without clear, coordinated, and implementable measures, even the strongest commitment cannot deliver real health and environmental benefits to our society. As you are all the distinguished representatives from the government and intergovernmental organizations, your insights, commitment, and leadership are essential to turning the global aspiration into real on-the-ground changes. So we look forward to a frank, forward-looking discussions about that how we strengthening the cooperation line of efforts and deliver tangible improvement of air quality across Asia and beyond. Thank you. Let's start our conversation. My first question goes to Mr. Sankakudu. That we all know that Bangladesh faces growing challenges around industrial emission and urban air quality. Within your mandate at the Ministry of Environmental Forests and Climate Change, moving forward from BAQ, what specific regulatory or policy actions are you planning to prioritize to accelerate reductions in emission from those major pollution sources? I give the floor.
Thank you, Professor Jha. Distinguished moderator, excellencies, colleagues, and participants from different geo and private sector. First of all, I'd like to convey my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the organizer for the Better Air Quality Conference for nominating me as a panelist in this important closing plenary. As you know, Bangladesh is severely affected by air pollution and is frequently ranked among the countries facing some of the highest level of air pollution in the world. Rapid urbanization, industrial growth, big production, urban transport, and open waste burning activities have created complex air quality challenges, particularly in major cities like Dhaka. However, Bangladesh is fully committed to addressing these challenges. Moving forward from the Better Air Quality Conference, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is prioritizing several key regulatory and policy actions to accelerate emission reduction from major pollution sources. First, we are strengthening our regulatory framework. As you know, Bangladesh has enacted Environmental Conservation Act in 1995, which was the major legal basis of environmental protection. And under this framework, we have enacted many rules, especially the air pollution control rules in 2022. Under these rules, we have a high-powered coordination body headed by the Cabinet Secretary, the highest level of bureaucrat in Bangladesh. And now this is to ensure the coordinated actions across ministries. At the same time, the government of Bangladesh is continuing its effort to close illegal brick lanes and strengthening licensing and compliance systems. Secondly, we are accelerating the transition to clean brick technologies. We are also encouraging the use of alternative building materials, including hollow concrete blocks and other sustainable construction material, particularly in public infrastructure projects. In addition, we are exploring fiscal initiatives and concessional financing mechanisms to support clean owners. Third, controlling industries' emission is another major priority. We are working to update sector-specific emission standards for key industries such as cement, steel mills, textile and power plants. Fourth, we are also addressing urban air pollution sources including transport emission and construction dust. Measuring to control road dust and construction-related emissions are also being studied. Finally, improving air quality governance requires strong data and cooperation. Now, Bangladesh is adopting National Air Quality Management Plan in 2024 to 30. In closing, Bangladesh recognizes that improving air quality is not only an environmental priority but also a public health, economic, and climate imperative. Through stronger policies, technologies transition, and regional collaboration, we are committed to making meaningful progress towards clean air for our citizens and for our future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sekap. It's very valuable for sharing with Habib country, and also I think many of us will learn from you. And my second question is goes to Mr. Hong Akama, Mayor of Reach, from Uzbekistan. And given your due focus on economic development and poverty reduction in your district, one of the Pakistan's fastest growing areas, so what are the policies on investment inspired by learning from VAQ? Are you advancing to ensure that economic growth goes hand in hand with improvement in air quality?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests of today's event. Considering the time given to us, I will keep my short brief. Sergeli district is located in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. The district is one of the areas where industry is developing quickly. Taking this into account, we plan to carry out the following actions. First, in 25 schools and kindergartens located near the industrial zones of Sergeli district, we will gradually install modern air cleaning equipment and start regular monitoring of air quality. Second, more than 100,000 vehicles patrol the district every day, and the international airport also operates in this area. Therefore, we will plant trees and create green belts along the main roads. Third, in the districts, more than 1,200 industrial enterprises, we will accelerate the introduction of clean technologies such as energy-efficient equipment, air filters, and solar panels. As a result, air quality and humidity will improve, harmful emissions from industry and transport will decrease, and healthy environmental conditions will be created for residents and for children in educational institutions. At the same time, the sustainable economic development of the district will continue. Of course, while taking these efforts to the next stage, we will also use the suggestions and new ideas shared during this conference. To reduce air pollution faster, we plan to take several steps. First, we will prepare proposals to simplify environmental laws. Second, we will increase the number of projects that help improve air quality. Third, we will start regular air quality monitoring in the district and involve young people and volunteers in protecting nature. Fourth, together with educational institutions, we will give more attention to training specialists in the field of air quality improvement. Most importantly, we will learn from international experience and invite international organizations and investors to cooperate with us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much to Mr. Sorry, I'm learning now. I think it's very important that you mentioned that how important we consult economic development and environment protection, and also involve the stakeholders to implement the you so much. And I would like to call the next speaker, the panelist, Attorney Janice Iwazo Kami. I hope that I'm pronouncing the right name. Okay, I don't know, based on your rich experience, could you please talk to understand what policies and actions that the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in the Philippines plan to campaign to accelerate air quality improvement after the BAQ and the part of the country's chairmanship on the Asian meeting this year. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the Philippines has ongoing efforts to update the Philippines Air Quality Improvement Framework, the Air Quality Control Action Plan, which provides for specific actions to be undertaken by different sectors or implementers of the Clean Air Act towards cleaner air. Also, we are reviewing the existing national ambient air quality guideline values and development of the new guideline values for hazardous air pollutants, or the HAZA. Also, we are updating the vehicle emission fuel standards to transition from Euro 4 to Euro 5 and the shift to low emission transport or non-motorized transport, such as active transport and public transportation. Also, the expansion of the air quality monitoring network from the current 154 stations and the proposed 415 stations to cover all highly urbanized cities, metro areas, in airsheds, municipalities, coal-fired power plant areas, among others. As to the priority policies that the DNR in the Philippines can plan to champion, as part of the country's chairmanship, the Philippines can steer regional collaboration to improve air quality and its linkages to climate, health, transport, infrastructure, among others, and support the goals of the ASEAN 15 Clean Air Measures and ASEAN Community Vision 2045. Also, we can look into how to champion blended finance for clean air tech development by merging sources of funding, such as the public funds, private capital, and development assistance, so that the ASEAN can de-risk investment in clean energy and pollution reduction projects. Also, we would like to look into how to integrate clean air into ASEAN economic and digital frameworks. As ASEAN's 2026 economic deliverables include digital transformation, MSME development, creative innovation, and regional roadmap, the Philippines can embed clean air solutions across work streams such as digital air quality governance and the support to MSME green transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Makaso Pami. I think, again, it's also important that you mention the integrated and integrated governance, especially that how to link the new technologies and with the traditional experience together and to move forward to find the integrated solutions in our city. Thank you again. So now I would like to call the next panelist, Dr. Thomas David from South Africa. And I think these few days we have already learned from you that South Africa faces unique mix of air quality issues, from industry emissions in priority areas to household energy challenges. As head of the National Air Quality Portfolio, we would like to know what new regulatory approaches, enforcement mechanisms, or interdepartmental programs are you pushing to accelerate the nationwide improvement? And what are some priority areas of knowledge exchange between South Africa and the Asian countries are very much needed to support your clean air program? I give the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I would like to appreciate the invitation to this forum. South Africa acknowledges that we do have air pollution challenges. We have identified hotspots that we call priority areas. Within these priority areas, while these areas were declared a couple of years ago, we have not seen a significant improvement. And in the past year, we have promulgated priority area regulations that provide enforcement measures to compel polluters, both industrial and non-industrial sources, to put intervention measures and set targets until 2030 that compel the significant improvement in air pollution that we can attest to. Within these interventions, we're also looking at improving our enforcement and compliance enforcement actions, noting that without those, our regulations will not achieve what we need to achieve. The priority area regulations are also compelling us to improve our coordination mechanisms with the different spheres of government that have mandates, for example, waste management, transport management, and other sources. And some of the work that we are already initiating and have started is to address pollution from those sectors and bring them into the priority area management plans so that their interventions are also coordinated and strong. With issues of health, we are recognizing that air pollution is a health issue and an economic issue. We have partnered with what we call the South African Medical Research Council that provides studies on the burden of diseases, threat burden of diseases. And we are going into extending the memorandum of understanding with that organization to ensure that the policies that we implement and the monitoring of those policies is monitored by tangible interventions on the improvement of quality of air and the quality of people's health as the most fundamental right that South Africans are entitled to. We also acknowledge the funding challenges that we continue to experience. We are exploring a number of funding mechanisms and options, but we think that is work that we'll continue to do to support industry to come into compliance and also to improve our own funding mechanisms as government and prioritizing air pollution. We recognize that capacity are a challenge in terms of our ability to deliver our own legislation. We are looking at building sustainable capacity in air quality management. And I have to acknowledge that one of the items I've noticed in this forum is that there is a pool of young scientists and experts, and that will carry the work forward when, with time, and it's something that we aspire to. Notice that ecology is a scarce skill that is only implemented by a few. And we are looking at building modeling mechanisms. And in ecology monitoring, we are looking at tightening our ecology standards, as well as including local sensor monitoring, noting the challenges in air pollution. Thank you.
Also very important that we mentioned in South Africa. First of all, I'd like to cover all the sources of the pollution, and second one is try to tackle on the priority problems. And the underlying philosophy is that environment problems, air pollution control, has the same impact on health and economic problems. That the big challenges for any of those societies are how to together. Thank you so much for your sharing. And now I would like to call our next panelist, Mr. Luis. I hope I can pronounce your name correctly. Manaleo from Brazil. I don't know if I called the right name. So we know that Brazil's major urban centers faces the rising pressures from the transport, emission, industry activities, and open burning, etc. So in your leadership role at the federal level, so what policies or national wide actions are you implementing to speed up the air pollution reduction? And what support, such as the stronger state, federal coordination, monitoring infrastructure, financing mechanisms, or updated to regulatory frameworks, do you need to effectively scale those efforts across Brazil's diverse regions? Thank you. I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Professor Jen. First, it's a great honor to be here invitation to participate here in the BQ and in this important session. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to thank all the institutions and everyone involved in organizing this important conference. So despite the distance between Latin America and Asia, many of the problems we face are similar. Air pollution, unplanned urbanization, inequalities, and that's why these conferences and rooms of debate are so important, because also the solutions can be shared among us. So addressing air pollution requires a coordinated national strategy that integrates policy, monitoring, and adequate planning. So Brazil has recently taken important steps to accelerate air pollution reduction and strengthen the country's governance framework. First key milestone for this was the approval of the National Air Quality Policy in 2024. So this law provides an overarching framework for managing air pollution nationwide. The country now has a comprehensive legal framework specifically dedicated to air quality, providing strategic directions aimed at protecting public health and the environment. Implementing this legislation, our air quality standards were also updated, aligning the national standards with the WHO recommendation. So these regulatory updates are essential because they create clear targets and establish the national institutional basis for coordinated action. Regarding transport emissions, Brazil is currently working in implementing the inspection maintenance program, which are important, particularly in the large metropolitan regions, where transport remains one of our main sources of air pollution. At the same time, in the center and north region of Brazil, air quality degradation is strongly linked to land use change and biomass burning. Therefore, federal efforts to combat deforestation and forest fires, especially in the Amazon rainforest, are also central to reducing atmospheric pollution. So strengthening enforcement, expanding satellite monitoring, and implementing prevention plans help address both climate change impacts and severe pollution caused by the forest fires and agricultural burning in Brazil. However, to scale these efforts across Brazil's diverse regions, two priorities stand out. First, investing in monitoring infrastructure, including expanding air quality monitoring networks and data systems, so that all major urban areas have reliable and transparent information. And second, sustainable financing mechanisms for air quality management, including national funds and international cooperation to support local implementation and technical training. So the Brazilian government is committed to advancing these two fronts to specific projects aimed at reducing gaps across all federal levels and enabling effective air quality management. By combining legislative updates, expanded monitoring, and target sectoral initiatives, Brazil seeks to strengthen the federal cooperation and move forward toward cleaner air, healthier cities, and a more resilient environment for all in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mario. I think again, our that you'll have very well established air pollution control coming from the sources or impacts to until the solutions with the success of institutional air pollution challenges that affect the health, climate, and the economy. From your organization, who has a regional advantage, works with countries in this region. Moving forward from BAQ, what are the priority coordinated policies or on the ground interventions are you advocating through the rapidly reduction of emissions across the mountain to valley system?
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon, everyone. Like International Center for Integrated Mountain Development is a regional institute with 8 regional member countries, and 6 member countries are falling in IGP HF airshed, which is the global hotspot of air pollution. It has all challenges related to air quality in that region, and the EC mod being a politically neutral and centrally placed intergovernmental organization has a mandate, also among other mandates, ranging from biodiversity, cryosphere to air pollution as well. Our priorities in the region is actually we adopted a phased approach. First of all, we developed kind of monitoring capabilities in the countries in Bangladesh, Nepal, India, Nepal and Bhutan, and also kind of, you can say, the domain of evidence generation. And when these capacities are in place, we are also, like our responsibility as intergovernmental regional institute is to integrate knowledge and build a long-term air quality management vision in that country, because that strategic vision would be very, very important, and that actually gives an opportunity to knit all the work into one web and actually see where are the gaps, and we are working to fill those gaps also and building robust national strategies for clean air in the region. So we have started with Bhutan, Nepal, also working with Bangladesh wherever the gaps are, sectoral policy, technology adoption, packages, etc. And the second level is of course the regional cooperation for air quality management, because the challenge of air pollution there is transboundary. So there also we partnering with the World Bank, we have started regional science policy finance dialogues. So one way of approaching the regional cooperation is from national to regional, and other way is from regional to national. Is the second intervention is the science policy finance dialogue, where the discussions and where the knowledge sharing on science, policy and finances actually goes across. It is such a wonderful region that the solutions do exist. We can see the solutions coming up in all 3 verticals from the region only. We also are having China as member of our intergovernmental organization, so we can transfer knowledge across the region to other countries as well. We also believe in having a structured kind of dialogue, which we are also advocating in the region, that we can form thematic working groups on monitoring solutions and financing, and those groups can be guided by steering committees where all the member countries are well represented. Third thing which we are actually as a regional institute aiming for is developing a kind of a decision support system, because in this region the finances and the kind of implementation of policies, what kind of policies will bring what kind of change, that is very important to understand. So there is a need for uniform, very user-friendly decision support system which can actually facilitate the policy makers to understand what kind of cost-effective policies can be taken up to see maximum delta reduction in air quality with minimum cost. And also our vision and our work also centers around integrating super pollutants with air pollution strategy, so that the financing also is leveraged from carbon markets and also the climate finance market. So that is a kind of a strategy we are having and developing, working with the region. Lastly, it is very important to actually transform all our efforts from government supported to actually business related actions. So we are looking forward to developing businesses around air pollution and the strong, very strong lead we have obtained in the field of biomass crop residue management in Nepal and the non-recyclable plastic waste RDF getting co-processed and replacing coal thermal substitution in cement plants. So I have just mentioned few of the examples.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So,
We have a question.
okay.
Thank you. I think Mr. Kigali shared with us a very important experience that when we faced off the transforming pollution problems, that foreign organization advocating to set up the common ground and common understandings which can lead to the common actions. These are pretty useful. Thank you so much. And now we have to come to the last question. The second long question. I'm sorry, it's my fault. You gave a really rich reflections that I can't stop any of them. But now I really want each of you can take just a one or two sentences to answer the same final question. That is what important to enabling the conditions or collaboration with the policy framework, financial, technical, would most effectively support and scale your plans and efforts. I'm sorry, I just can only give you just a one or two sentence. So we from you.
Thank you, Professor Chan. To effectively accelerate emission reduction from industrial sources, big greens and urban pollution, several key enabling conditions are essential for Bangladesh. I just want to mention the headline, not detail. For a strong and coherent policy framework, yes, I have already mentioned that we have already adopted National Air Quality Management Plan into 2024 to 2030. And second one, the sustainable financing mechanism and collaboration with the international development partners will remain very important in mobilizing climate and clean air financing. Third, technical and specific collaboration is another enabling factor. Expanding air quality monitoring networks, strengthening emission inventories, and applying advanced modeling tools will help guide evidence-based policy making. And finally, regional cooperation is very essential for reducing air quality in Bangladesh and the Indo-Gangetic Plain. And in this regard, SAFE, BC Mode, and World Bank Academy can play a vital role for investing in this sector. In summary, with strong policy implementation, adequate financing, technical cooperation, and regional collaboration, Bangladesh believes we can significantly accelerate progress towards cleaner and healthier communities. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Because we have so limited time for everything, I have to give the privilege to Ms. Levy because she just dropped from the first round discussion and gave her a little bit more time, more than 2 sentences to let you answer for the last question. I give it to
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, colleagues. Assalamu alaikum. I represent a government institution working in the field of the ecology, climate change in Uzbekistan. Our ministry is responsible in monitoring and control environmental protection in the Aral Sea region. Regarding our minister's plans, I would like to highlight several key conditions what are important in effectively scaling up efforts to improve air quality. Outer rights, first, strong policy coordination is needed between national and local outsource as well as local communities to integrate air quality management measures. This including plans related to the development of green energy, transport, and infrastructure in Uzbekistan. Such policies are being implemented through legislative and regulation frameworks. Over the past 3 years, more than 4 regulation acts related to air quality improvement have been adopted, covering transport, monitoring of large enterprises, green technologies, urban degreening, and creation of parks and gardens. However, policy documents alone are not enough. Effective implementation is required. For this, several conditions are necessary. Firstly, sustainable financing is essential. This including grant funding, co-financing mechanism, and support the preparing investment projects, particularly for modernization, having system including introducing clean green technology and development green park areas. Secondly, technical support and critically important. This includes establishing mobile mini laboratories in the region to research remote village and for air quality monitoring, especially in the RLC. In many of these locations, internet access is still limited. There is a need to develop specific emission reductions standards and methodological tailors in the RLC region. At the same time, it should be noted that Uzbekistan has already developed methodological and environmental demands assessment, and elements of carbon account system are already in place. Another important aspect in training specialists and preparing teachers in the field in area where have significant needs. Currently, our instruction employs 122 inspectors responsible in monitoring and control, as well as 215 staff working in protected natural parks. There is a strong need building staff capacity in introducing new monitoring system and evaluating in effectiveness and implemented measures. This supports the pilot projects. We feel that successful approaches can be scaled up to other regions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you again. I will just give you one by one top of the sentence very briefly. Thank you. Start from the attorney Tammy.
Thank you again. So the Philippines believe that a combined approach using robust policy framework, targeted financial mechanisms, and evidence-based data is the key to our quest for better air quality. So mainstreaming air quality into climate policies, targeted based funding such as grants and use of fiscal incentives to encourage improvement of air quality, sustained financing to update Clean Air Action Plan, along with enhanced air quality network and emissions inventory system, intensification of enforcement, and finally, smart urban planning together with clean energy transition efforts will help us to protect the health of our citizens, for our health, for our children, for our future.
Dr. Dawes, couple of sentences.
Thank you very much. I think South Africa has two things, building sustainable systems for information management to assist in shaping our interventions, and also between synergies between climate change and air quality mitigation policies, because our emissions profiles are very similar from energy, from transport, from industrial sources, and the finances will also be aligned if we can have those synergies between the policy development and implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like that Manadayo.
Thank you, Professor Zeng. So for the for the air quality management, we need to have information. We need to have monitoring, emissions inventories, so we can plan to what to do. But beyond this reliable data, we need to go a step beyond. We need to translate all this data in information so that we can communicate clearly and openly about air quality issues. We need to expand the reach of this study findings beyond these important rooms of debate. We need the society to know what's happening. And also we need the engagement of other ministries, such as finance, industry, and development, so they also can advocate for and support pollution reduction measures. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I give the floor to your final candidate,
Yeah, thank you. I think a very, very long-term strategic vision, regionally and nationally for air pollution control is actually the need of ours. And the national strategies built around that vision and also a regional strategy, the regional issues addresses that. That is a kind of first start we would look for the IGPHF. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for our distinguished panelists. I will not say too much, but I really wanted to take 1.5 minutes just to summarize some of the very important key messages from the dialogue. The first is that governments are prioritizing the very stronger regulatory frameworks and enforcement to address the key sources of air pollution. The second key message is that integrated and inclusive development strategies are so essential to aligning economic growth with clean air goals and other social development goals. The third message is enhanced regional cooperation, sustainable financing, strengthened data and monitoring system, and targeted especially capacity buildings are critical to scaling and sustaining the better air process. And the fourth one is the air quality improvement must be pursued through a synergetic approach that integrates multiple development objectives to maximize the core benefits and long-term social welfare. With that, I now hand over the floor to Glenda, and thank you all for your joining this panel.
Thank you very much, our distinguished panelists, for those forward-looking commitments and insights from our government leaders. We now move to panel 2, which will highlight the organizations working hand in hand with governments to scale financing, deepen technical support, and accelerate strategic interventions for cleaner air. To lead this next conversation, I am pleased to welcome Ms. Priya Shankar, Air Quality Lead of the Environment Program at Bloomberg Philanthropies, an organization that has been instrumental in advancing data-driven clean air solutions globally. Please help me welcome our moderator for panel 2, Priya Shankar. May I also please invite to the stage the Director for Environment of the Asian Development Bank, Yoko Watanabe, and the Lead for Asia Pacific Climate Resilience Department of the Energy and Climate Directorate of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, John Warburton. Also the Executive Director
Director of Programs of the Clean Air Fund, Shiris Sinha. And the Clean Air Flagship Coordinator of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, please help me welcome Amanda Curry-Brown. And Daniel Mira Salama, the Lead Environmental Specialist of the World Bank. And last but not the least, Professor Tong Ju of the Peking University.
Thank you very much, Glinda. And we've heard from the previous panel on the importance of integrated approaches and commitment from government in terms of tackling air quality. But we also heard that to get there we need technical capacity, technical assistance, and financing to scale up solutions. And we know that accelerating action on clean air presents an enormous opportunity as an environmental issue, but also as a major economic and health challenge, that by addressing it we receive benefits across multiple areas. Yoko, I would like to start with you and ask what is the role that multilateral development banks can help in scaling up finance for air quality solutions?
Great, thank you so much, Priya. So multilateral development banks like ADB play a strategic role in developing needed policy framework and also credible data system and supporting capacity development and mobilizing investment for clean air from both public and private sector finance. And we help mainstream air quality goals into major investments like in transport and energy and urban development, and many of my colleagues actually are here supporting the governments on these areas. But what is mainly most important is we can work on this in an integrated manner. So not by sector, we can do a multi-sectoral or phased approach for a long-term investment in air quality. And what we can do is also crowd in and reduce the risk of private capital coming in by supporting policy framework and also long-term financing like guarantees and developing blended finance. And also we're talking about bonds and credits and some newer mechanism to bring in the needed private capital. And ADB have actually worked to bring in the environment sort of agenda higher in our corporate agenda. So we have an environmental action plan that has been agreed in 2024, and actually we have achieved 12% of our overall new projects addressing air quality matters. And what we are happy is that building on our experience in China and Mongolia and others, we were able to have some dialogue this time with Thailand and also with Indonesia on integrated programming on air quality, and we hope that we can move forward in the dialogue with these countries to have a more holistic long-term vision in working on these matters. And I think there are many opportunities to work in these different cities that are suffering from high air pollution, and we are able to work on that. And also to do that, I really want to highlight that working with bilateral organizations like Japan and UK with FCDO to bring in that grant money to leverage these higher level investment is really critical. So we really look forward to working with all of you, and I think working together with partners this time with a Better Air Quality Conference has been a real honor for Asian Development Bank. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yoko. And you already sort of made the connections between air quality and urban development. And we heard in the previous panel as well connections between air quality and climate. John, I would like to ask you, in terms of climate resilience, how do you think air quality and climate resilience are connected, and what is some of the work that the FCDO is supporting in the region around those issues?
Thank you, Priya. Just before I answer that question, as this is the final closing plenary, let me just say thank you to the organisers for a really stimulating and excellent 3 days, bringing together so many people and so many ideas. Yes, the UK government's approach is a partnership-led approach. geared towards finding ways to both mitigate and build resilience to climate change while improving the air that we breathe. Just to mention, the UK is co-chair of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition alongside Brazil, where we're coordinating action by more than 200 partners. And at COP30, we launched the Super Pollutant Country Accelerator, which aims to engage 30 countries and mobilise 150 million in grant funding. And we support the development of the Air Quality Management Exchange platform. Obviously, we recognise that air pollution is a local, regional and global issue, and we're committed to working with partners to reduce the impacts of air pollution on human health and ecosystems, and we want to find integrated solutions. Over the last 3 years, we've been supporting ICIMOD, as we heard in the previous panel, and the World Bank to drive clean air action in the region through our flagship programme called Climate Action for a Resilient Asia, or CARA. I'd love to say more about the programme, but I don't have time. But it is a programme that covers all aspects of adaptation, from financing to climate information and weather information through to investment on the ground and various platforms. Air pollution is central to CARA's offering. We want to mobilise the level of financing needed to solve this all-encompassing programme and develop better data and coordinated action. That's why we're supporting the World Bank, ICIMOD, and now the Asian Development Bank to do exactly that. I think importantly, their work in the region over the past few years has brought into sharp focus both the year-round. It's not just, air pollution is not just when it's visible, but it's a year-round and transboundary nature of the issue. And there's a shift from treating air pollution as an urban issue that plagues specific cities to a broader airshed approach spanning states and countries. And I have to say, all this work, particularly in South Asia, is being done in a difficult geopolitical context where regional cooperation doesn't come easily. ICIMOD, the World Bank, the ADB's emphasis on national plans aligned to broader regional frameworks is instrumental in helping shape solutions that cut across sectors and borders. I have to say that as a development partner and a financier of official development assistance, I have to say that this has been a very challenging year and will continue to be a challenging time. ODA is, particularly the UK, but by no means only the UK's ODA, is getting scarce. We're having to make difficult decisions about what we support, which does mean that we're looking for good use of finance, and we want to see evidence on the ground and be able to communicate that evidence as well. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And talking about evidence and data, I think is an area where philanthropy can also play a role in terms of supporting evidence and data. And we've been really pleased at Bloomberg Philanthropy to partner with the Clean Air Fund on our Green Cities initiative, where we're supporting work in Jakarta and Bangkok to help those cities improve air quality and also collaborate on wider national air quality programs in India and Indonesia. Shirish, I'd like to ask you, what do you think the role philanthropy can play is in terms of tackling the air quality challenge?
Thank you, Priya. So as you rightly said, Clean Air Fund, thanks to you and many other philanthropic organizations, we are now one of the largest global green granting philanthropic organization, and we work with governments, with funders, with businesses, and civil society organizations. So our essentially principle is to work towards a world where everybody breathes clean air and bringing together different climate and health actors to deliver from grassroots and community organizations to major strategic initiatives. So we focus on the need and where the need and potential for impact are greatest. So in Ghana, in India, Indonesia, Poland, South Africa, UK, across the EU, and as well as you mentioned, Priya, the Green Cities work that is in Africa, Latin America, and Asia, and Europe. And also in the thematic areas, which a lot has been discussed in the last 3 days about super pollutant, as well as black carbon, and then health as a cross-cutting area. While we work on these thematic areas and geographies, we also work internationally to elevate air pollution on the global agenda. And one of the key highlights last year, together with help of strategic partnership with Dr. Gwaze and the team in South Africa, was of the Cape Town Declaration on the G20 that came out. It was something where we provided lot of technical inputs that led into that. So there are three things I want to highlight here in terms of what we think philanthropic capital can do more. One is around evidence. So we try and make invisible problem and its impact more visible through evidence. And that is what some of the work around our data that you highlighted we are focusing on. So for example, in Ghana and Accra, we've been supporting rollout of real-time, low-cost and sensor network that allows us to get more available data to take decisions and take the right set of policies. Similarly, in South Africa, again in collaboration that we have with the Department of TFFE, we have now rolled out nearly 200 low-cost sensors in the priority areas which have been identified as the critical region. The other thing is around demand. So we empower communities to demand change. So one of such initiatives, again in Warsaw, where we work with parents to push for action to protect their children around resistance from transition that is required of moving from coal boilers towards more cleaner fuels. That has essentially led to about 45% reduction in PM2.5 over the last 10 years, and also in terms of leading towards more improved climate and environment benefits. And it's not just the parents in the groups that we work, we also work with doctors and medical practitioners, like Doctors for Clean Air, which is a global initiative that we work with other societal groups like teachers and communities to become part of this. The third set of action that we focus on is to work with governments, where there's a critical wheel and regulation. We work, for example, in the mayoral networks that we've been working to take lessons around the low emission zone work that happened in London, and then also now seeing it as to scale up through this Green Cities initiative in Joburg, in Bogota, and other places. Similarly, at the national level and subnational level, we work with governments on technical assistance. In Ghana, for example, right now we're working to draft the regulations, and in India, in the world, and the work that's been happening with the World Bank on the technical side. I just want to kind of end by saying that Asia is an increasing priority for Clean Air Fund. We know this is a region where more need is there. There's more serious air pollution challenges, and the potential for impact is very, very high. We have roots in our work that we're doing in India. We are starting our grant making and program in Indonesia this year, and we're in the process of finalizing and developing our regional program in Southeast Asia. So I hope in 2 years' time, and I want to really congratulate the Clean Air Asia team, in 2 years' time, when we come back, we'll be probably making more progress on what we're doing in Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suresh, and really encouraging to hear about the work that you have planned in Asia. You touched on the importance of capacity building, as did our other speakers, and I'd like to ask Amanda about the role of capacity building in the region and the work that the Climate and Clean Air Coalition is supporting around building capacity here in Asia.
Sure, thank you. I'd also like to just take a moment to congratulate all the co-organizers, and particularly the team from Clean Air Asia for a spectacular event, as they always are. So nice to see so many of you again and to meet new members of the team. So as John mentioned, at COP30, CCAC launched what was called the Super Pollutant Action Accelerator, which many of you will be aware of the success of the Montreal Protocol, and then one of the foundations of that was the creation of ozone units within national governments. What we've seen is that countries have high ambition. They know air pollution is a problem. They want to do something about it, and then they know what they need to do. But teams are stretched so thin, and so supporting that capacity is really critical in getting action. So what the Super Pollutant Action Accelerator is there's an initial cohort of 7 countries who are being supported with dedicated teams, as well as funding for projects to address their sectoral priorities over the course of 3 years. The idea behind this is to help advance quickly from planning to implementation, and the ultimate ambition is to support 20 or 30 countries by 2030. We've had a number of our Action Accelerator countries in the room. Dr. Kwase and Luis from Brazil have represented us very well this week. We've got a colleague from Indonesia. Also in the region, Cambodia and Kazakhstan are part of the initial cohort, and we look forward to having more in the future cohorts. In addition to the Action Accelerator program, countries are able to apply for what we call targeted expert assistance. So these are grants for up to $80,000 over a 12-month period to get expert support with specific planning or implementation projects. So to help progress specific priorities within the country, giving them that little extra nudge that they might need. In addition, I know a number of you were able to attend the AQMX workshop yesterday, the Air Quality Management Exchange, and we've heard that referenced several times over the course of the last few days. AQMX emerged from Union Resolution 610, which called for an online platform to ease access to air quality management resources. And it is a one-stop shop for air quality management resources, including step-by-step guidance, technical resources, and sectoral guidance to help air quality managers have conversations with their counterparts in sectoral aligned industries to push forward important policies. We're continually expanding what is available on the platform. There was new guidance released just this week, and building our user community. And I would really encourage any of you who liked what you've heard this week to check it out and to get involved. We'd love to have you join the user community for the focus group. And also, I think the partnership, one of the strengths of CCAC is its partnership and bringing together not only of national governments, but intergovernmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, and expert researchers from around the world, and giving people the chance to learn from one another. And so with that, I think that we'll close with that, as hopefully you've taken away from this week that talking to one another and sharing our experiences is one of the best ways to build capacity.
Thank you, Amanda, and yes, the important partnerships and connections that we've all been making through this week. I'd like to turn to Daniel, and we've been talking about the importance of finance, but sometimes it's presented as just a major barrier in terms of tackling air pollution. And I wondered if you could unpack that for us a little bit and share your insights on how much of a barrier you think finance really is in terms of tackling the air pollution challenge.
Thank you so much, Priya. Let me start also by thanking and congratulating the organizers, and a big shout out to Clean Air Asia. All of us who've been organizing sessions, we've been exchanging with them for many months, and I can't even begin to imagine the amount of work that has gone into this. And we can safely say it's been a roaring success of 3 years of perfect logistics and content-wise. So big shout out to the organizers, and thanks for having us. So these are parting thoughts. In fact, I'm just one person away from closing the conference. So I'm going to go slightly off script on that question, because we've been hearing about lack of financing, and I wouldn't like us to leave this conference thinking that lack of finance is a problem. I think it's a symptom. It's not the cause, it's the symptom. The facts are there. Every session we've joined, we start with these staggering numbers of premature death caused by air pollution. We've heard repeatedly the costs to the economy that are in the double digits in some cases. This is so huge. So what else do we need? The evidence is there, and it is very well known. Air pollution is the third largest premature cause of death in the world. It's the third largest cause in the world. It's only like tobacco and high pressure are the two that were before. So the evidence is there. What happens is, I feel that we go through cycles of panic and neglect. And only when the issue is too evident to ignore is when we take action. I was looking at the data there sitting on my phone, and air quality every year causes the same amount of deaths as the whole COVID pandemic. So this is like a COVID pandemic every single year, right? And yet there isn't enough action, right? We saw in 2013, 2014, the war on pollution by China. They placed it at the center of action. They placed it at the center of their priority, and they succeeded. They're seeing, and when I talk to the decision makers there at the ministry, etc., what they say, I was interested to know, is it the GDP cost? Is it the number of the costs to the economy? And they said, no, it was seeing the children going to hospitals with teary eyes, and with asthma. That's what caused the whole economy. We're seeing the same thing in India, in Bangladesh, and Pakistan, with really large episodes that you can't ignore. But then we go, once the issue is no longer visible, let's say, we go again through a tricycle of let's say, neglect. So what we need is a whole economy. The resources are there if the priorities are there. Multilateral organizations like us, if a minister of finance comes and says, we want an air quality management project, the resources are there, and those resources can then unlock others. But that seldom happens, because sectors that are available. But I will also say that finances are there, resources are there. Look at the amount of money that goes into art projects. Look at the amount of money that goes into transport, into energy, into solid waste. All that could potentially be air quality. It's all air quality. Is it a positive or a negative? That's up to us. So what we need to do is sometimes, take our hat of air quality and become the co-benefit. We need to work strongly sectorally. We need to, attach ourselves to all these sectors that very often have the key to success or have successful growth. At the bank, we do that through knowledge, through partnerships, through financing, and through catalyzing financing. We've heard enough of that during the conference, but those are my parting thoughts on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And we at Bloomberg Philanthropies have been pleased to partner with the World Bank around some of our work in two northern Indian states, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana. And I think that message on the importance of being able to tap into not just sort of dedicated air quality financing, but aligning across sectors and the different benefits that accrue for air quality across different sectors is an important one that I think we've been hearing throughout the conference as well. You spoke about the dramatic improvements that we've seen in China, and I would like to turn to Professor Zhe and ask about his experience with research and evidence forming a basis of some of those transformations in China and the lessons that we can learn from that for other countries.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here. First, congratulations for the successful EAQ. And as all you mentioned about how important air pollution control is, I give you 3 examples which have been personally participated. First one is for the Beijing Summer Olympics. The Beijing government commit provides good air quality, and I was organizing an international team to have a few campaigns to understand the regional air pollution, not only within Beijing but also beside beyond the border of Beijing. So we provide the policy, Dr. Zhang Xiu, she was also involved. And it turns out which was very successful, have a very good air quality for the event. The lesson then is, if you or government want, you can have air pollution controlled. The second one is mentioned about starting 2013, that Chinese Nature Science Foundation founded a major research program, which about 240 million RSD, which I'm leading. We try to understand, carry out fundamental study, understand the formation mechanism of air pollution, which is pure scientific and technology research program with more than 1,000 students and scientists involved. And what we found is air pollution is a complex or complicated within even more complicated climate system. So when we look at air pollution, it's not just emission itself. Meteorology climate system actually play an important role. So what we have learned, or scientific discovery translated into policy, and it shows that to eventually get rid of air pollution, sound scientific understanding is essential for effective emission control policy. About 5 years ago, I started another program called March, Air Pollution, Climate Change, and Health Connections, which is Clean Air Asia, and also Energy Foundation have been supporting us. And we want to know not only the emission source this year, actually the health impact. They could also have this compound exposure and cascade events. So if we can use health as a major driver for the society and the government to take action, we can have much more effective policy to deal with these complicated challenges, significant challenges human society are facing too. So this ARCH platform actually try to bring the different partners and stakeholders together to share knowledge and to promote actions on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhe, for outlining those incredible successes and the importance of the scientific and evidence basis to inform those. I would like to end with one quick rapid-fire question round for all of my panelists to answer in one sentence or less. What do you think is the biggest opportunity to achieve clean air in Asia and beyond?
Great, thank you very much. So I'd like to focus again, the opportunities lies in implementing the multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder and multi-financial mechanism to deploy to scale air quality projects. There is a lot of opportunity to do that, and we heard from that from multiple sort of participants today and for the past 3 days. And I also want to have a big shout out to the women leadership. We got together last night and it was 100 plus people who are here to really push this agenda forward together. And I think that was really, really powerful with GIZ and UNEP and others working on that. And finally, I just can't finish by the opportunity to partnership. So this conference was enabled by working together with Clean Air Asia, UNEP, ESCAP, CCAC, and Asian Development Bank. And we brought in more than 1,000 people to this table, and also having 50 plus new ideas to be financed further and sort of have a dialogue further. So that is really a big power and opportunity. And thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Yoko. John?
I'm really glad we got a second round, because I didn't want to end on a negative note of the challenge of ODA. Three quick thoughts. Firstly, yes, we've heard so much about data over the last 3 days. The only thing I'd say is, let's not make the need for perfect data be the enemy of good action. And I think, as Daniel said, what drove some of China's political will was, children going, the huge increase in children going to hospital. And for instance, in India, I think the fact that breath inhalers are at an all-time sales of breath inhalers are at an all-time high is quite a good proxy indicator of the need to take action now. Secondly, it's all complicated. It's especially as we take a cross-sectoral issue, but we need to understand the incentives and the disincentives, and indeed the new markets that can help drive behaviour. And I think finally, yes, we talked about the need for capacity at various levels, but also what has become so clear is the need for political will as well, and how important that is. And let's not treat the need for clean air as a private luxury. It's a genuine public luxury. It's a genuine public right. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And moving on, I'm going to request the other panelists to stick to the 1 point or 1 sentence or less, please. George,
Thanks, Priya. No, I will stick to one. I exceeded my time in the first round. I think one of the lessons that we've learned is around, and especially for Asia also to grow and become more impactful, we need more people-centered policies. Experience shows very clearly that public backlash can delay a lot of these good policies and implementation. And therefore, it leads to more friction, it leads to societal pushback, and I think that's why we need to tackle these barriers much more head-on, and I think that is one lesson that we're bringing as we expand into Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirish.
I think to echo Yoko's thoughts, the importance of coordination and collaboration, making sure our work is complementary and not duplicative, and we're not creating unnecessary work for the countries that we're working with. And I think Shirish cited the G20 and the G20 Declaration. I think that's such a spectacular example of kind of different organizations coming together. Dr. Gwaze and her team, CCAC and Clean Air Fund, and each bringing something different to the table to end up with a really, really fantastic result. And so I think more of that is definitely really important.
Thanks, Amanda. Daniel?
I will not use verbs or adjectives to be faster. Synergies, partnerships, co-benefits, people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Professor Zhu?
Yes, I think we need a strong international program that can bring the scientific discoveries technology innovation, and regional solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank our incredible panelists here, and I'm going to maybe follow Daniel's approach of just using a few key words that stood out for me from this last sort of discussion, and say that I picked up on people, policy, partnerships, and data, and that if we have those ingredients, then the rest will follow, and we can really unlock the path to clean air. And I'd also finally just like to thank, on behalf of Bloomberg Philanthropies, our partners at Clean Air Asia, who we have been working with for many years. We appreciate all the work that you do in the region, but also especially this conference, and the other conference organizers, ADB, CCAC, UNEP, UNSCAP. Thank you all for convening us and bringing us together. Thank you. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Priya, and to all our panelists for your thoughtful contributions. Now, to synthesize the conference key messages and reflections, I'm honored to invite Dr. Bindo Lahani, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of Clean Air Asia, to deliver the chair summary.
Thank you, Linda. This is the chairman's summary, so it's going to be complete or incomplete, agitating. Distinguished guests, I see our co-organizers, I see UNEP, sitting there, I see SCAP there, CCACC, and many of the partners, ADB, of course, and many others. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have finally come to the end of the 12th. This is the 12th DAQ. Over the past 3 days, we have heard a remarkable range of ideas, including the last session, experiences, practical solutions, constraints, difficulties, etc. What has made this conference particularly valuable is the way it has brought together, in my opinion, science, policy, finance, implementation, and all the problems and solutions related to them in one place. Many of the sessions and the discussions that we have listened to, and some of them others have listened and provided input to me, have shown several key themes. Some we have heard before, and it's still okay to say these are messages to be continued for future. Some we haven't heard, or less heard, still need to be taken and noted. So I have tried to put them in about 10 themes. Started with 15, 16, but let's say 10 is good enough. And there may be some missing, which you can fill it in. 1. Clean Asia is a development imperative. We've heard that. One of the clearest messages from this conference is that air quality is inseparable from broader development process. You might have heard before, but it's been said again. How we design our cities, generate energy, move people and goods, and manage the land and agriculture all shape the air pollution we breathe. Air we breathe. Sorry, I'm having this problem. Maybe because of air pollution. Clean air must therefore be understood not as a stand-alone environmental issues, but as a central pillar of sustainable development. Message 2. The scale of challenge remains enormous. No matter what we have achieved so far is upwards. Across Asia and Pacific, more than 90% of
population, nearly 4 billion people still exposed to air that is unsafe for the health. Air pollution is therefore not only an environmental concern, it's also a public health crisis and a major economic burden. We've heard that. Message 3. Air pollution is ultimately about people. We heard in the last session, 2 people. Behind these statistics are real lives. Children growing up in the polluted cities, workers who spend long hours outside, families living near pollution sources. It affects children concerned about the air they breathe, elderly people whose health may already be vulnerable, and people with disabilities who face additional barriers to protecting themselves. Clean air, therefore, must be understood not only as an environmental objective but also as a human right. As we mentioned before. Message 4. Many solutions already exist. We've heard that many times. We know the problem, we know the solutions, we know them. Another important message, therefore, for BAQ is that, and I repeat again, many solutions have already come. I've heard that many, many times in this. Across the region, we have heard examples of clearer transport systems, improved waste management, better industrial practices, and more sustainable land management, etc. The challenge today, therefore, is not only identifying solutions, it is implementing at the scale, not at the pilot scale, at the scale required to make a difference over the period of time. My message number 5. Cities are critical drivers of change. We all agree with that. Cities emerge many times in our discussion as the key actors in improving air quality. Urban areas are often where pollution is most visible. But they're also where innovation is taking place, and more has to take place there. Cities are experimenting with new approaches to mobility, urban planning, emission control, waste management, and you hear city labs, city innovation hubs, etc. I think all those are very good new development required to tackle this kind of problem. Therefore, supporting cities and technical capacity at this stage, institutional support and partnership will be essential for accelerating progress. And we all need to try to help in any way we can from our own means. Message number 6. Again, we've heard this before, climate and clean air must move together. Another strong thing has been how to link this. It's said many times, but real on the ground, we need to make it happen. Reducing short-lived pollutants, SLCPs, such as methane, black carbon, they offer an opportunity to deliver quick improvements, rapid improvements in air quality, but are also showing near-term climate warming. This is a very special area where I think needs to be focused, and some of the agencies are already working on it, need to do more. Integrated approach, we heard that, integrated many times in many sessions. Integrated approach can therefore deliver multiple benefits for health, climate, and sustainable development. Message number 7 to me. We've heard again in the last session, science, data, technology, they're all transforming air quality management. Several sessions, a few that I attended myself, highlighted the growing importance of data monitoring and analytical tools. And why not? If this technology is available, we should use it. Advances in satellite observation, digital technologies, real-time monitoring systems are creating new opportunities to better understand pollution sources and and support evidence-based policy making. Very much needed that why government should take a policy, and if that could be based on evidence, data, facts, it becomes possible to bring to the policymakers. So strengthening these systems will be essential, and we need to continue to work for that, for guiding effective actions. My message number 8. Regional cooperation is essential. It's been said again, and there were sessions on regional cooperations as well. Air pollution doesn't stop at city or national boundaries. We heard that in the session I was attending one, they talked about, look, the air said, we have the problem, but we don't have the right governance to do that. We're not very clear with that. Regional pollution flows, transboundary haze, wildlife smoke require cooperation across jurisdictions. So the importance of regional cooperation among the countries and within the countries, within the states, I think are all important. They're happening, and it should happen more. Transboundary issues remain. No country can solve this challenge alone. We know that. So we just need to keep on promoting how to bring them together. Number 9, money. Financing must match the scale of challenge. It came anytime. Financing is important. How to turn, we can ask for money, but I've also seen many times lots of money, but we don't know where to spend, and there are no places where we know it could be invested. So that is, I've seen that in climate fund. We got so much money, and then we go to the country, there's no projects, there are not enough places where to invest. So financing to investment is the area that we need to also look in future. So despite the enormous health and economic cost of the air pollution, only a small share of international development finance at the moment is directed. We heard that many times, but this, I hope, will change. I'm also allowed to say, this must change. This must change. Clean air investment support, obviously, public health, climate stability, economic productivity, and sustainable development. And I would strongly appeal that those who have a role to play for providing money. I also worked with that organization one time. There are many other organizations. I hope they try their best to do more. The cost of the inaction, because it's very, very clear. Look at all the data, statistics, analysis. The cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of action. Which is those numbers. And my 10th message. Implementation. And the time for implementation was yesterday, but we can go back to yesterday, let's say now. Today, onwards, even more. BAQ, in my view, has demonstrated both the scale of the challenge and the growing momentum for action. The knowledge, again, exists, as we've heard before, the solution exists, as we heard before, and the partnership needed to move forward are increasingly in place. This is a good example where we have so many partners. What is required now is, which I said, I think, also in the first speed, scale, and sustainable commitment. We must move from discussion to implementation, from pilot projects to systematic change with larger projects, and from ambition to measurable results. Ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility now lies with all of us, governments, cities, researchers, development partners, businesses, communities, NGOs, and all of us to translate the insight and experiences shared here in concrete action that will improve the life of the people and make sure that the people can breathe clean air. If we succeed in doing that, then the conversation held here in Bangkok, this is the second BAQ here, will not remain simply conference discussions. It will move into something else, something better. I think think they will help drive policies, investment, collaboration needed to deliver healthier communities and clearer skies for the region. Before I conclude, I also like to mention that with this BAQ, I complete my 9 years with the Clean Air Asia, the people, and I will also finish as the chair of this BAQ. And now it's my privilege to now introduce my able successor, Professor Dr. Sushing Khan, who is going to be the next year 2009 will be the chair from tomorrow actually, from tomorrow. He will going to be the chair. And thank you very much for the support you've given me, and thank you. I hope you will continue to support my colleague and my CEO, their name, which will continue to them for a long time. I'm confident that under leadership, BAQ will continue to grow even more as one of the most important platforms for advancing clean air solutions across the region. Please join me in welcoming. I think we clap. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lahani, for your inspiring summary and for your leadership. To officially close BAQ 2026, I would now like to invite Bjarne Peterson, Executive Director of Clean Air Asia, for the closing remarks. Bjarne?
Are you all ready? There's been some very nice remarks here over the last hour about Clean Air Asia. To the extent that I'm contemplating, maybe we should just extend the BAQ by one more day. What do you think? Up for that? Okay, no takers. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, over the past 3 days, we have brought together actually more than 1,100 participants from over 50 countries to here. Representatives from government, development organizations, philanthropic organizations, research, civil society, private sector have come to BAQ, all with a shared commitment to improve the air quality in the Asia Pacific. Because improving air quality requires cooperation across sectors and across borders. Governments, cities, businesses, academia, NGOs, partners, communities all have a role to play. Throughout this conference, we have seen, I have certainly seen, how participants and how partnerships and shared knowledge can accelerate progress across the region. But also, realities highlight the need for practical action. We've heard about policies and solutions that can deliver real improvement in air quality. We also heard about the baseline needs strengthening. We need better data, better emission inventory. We need an improved evidence base that are essential in moving forward, not only in identifying pollution sources, creating bankable proposals, but also delivering impact. This is what we're here for. We also know that these solutions also support the broader goals, such as climate action and just energy transition. Integrated approaches deliver multiple benefits for public health, sustainable development, climate, and environment goals. Equally importantly, we have heard a lot that we need to start removing the challenges for implementation of solutions for us to go scale. And we have those solutions, as has been mentioned all morning: cleaner energy systems, low emission transport, improved industrial practices, open burning reduction, expanded access to clean household energy, all deliver meaningful benefits for communities across the region. However, as it has been noted a lot, implementation of these solutions requires greater investment, requires money. One clear message from our discussions is that the scale of the challenge far exceeds the level of financing currently directed towards this challenge. Bridging the gap will require strong collaboration between all partners. It will also require clear policy frameworks, reliable data to develop investment-ready policies and scale clean air technologies. We'll be capturing the key messages from BAQ in the chair's summary, which we will finalize promptly after the conference, and we will then disseminate that to intergovernmental bodies, regional and international networks, organizations, strongly encourage them to take these considerations on board and the recommendations. Before closing, I would like to extend my sincere thank you to our co-organizers, the Asian Development Bank, Climate and Clean Air Coalition, ESCAP, and UNEP for their collaboration and support in delivering this conference. Thank you. I'm sure you will agree that we have received a very warm welcome here in Bangkok. For that, I'm thankful to our local partners, and particularly Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, the Pollution and Control Department, and the Asian Institute of Technology. BAQ has always and will always be a partnership effort. I thank you therefore all the contributors, the partners, the session organizers, for contributing their time, their expertise, their networks, and of course their funding as well. But of course, none of this would have been possible without the dedication and hard work of the Clean Air Asia team. They worked tirelessly along colleagues from you, alongside you, and colleagues from partner organizations, and the many volunteers who have contributed behind the scenes to make this event a success. In this respect, I would in particular like to thank, first of all, our volunteers from the Asian Institute of Technology. 25 of them, first people on the scene in the morning last to leave. Our Clean Air Asia BAQ team, headed by Amy, Debbie Sai, and four people to organize this event. Joey, over here, the logistics legend, one person managing all the logistics. And of course, last but not least, Glinda. She is, I can say, both the brain, the heart, and the soul of BAQ. So thank you, Glinda. One more I'm not going to mention the whole Clean Air Asia team, but can I have a round of applause for the whole team? Thank you. And finally, I would like to thank all of you for bringing your knowledge, your energy, and your commitment to this conference. I believe personally that the conversations we've had here will lead to stronger policies. They will lead to new partnerships. They will lead to greater investment. And so they will deliver real improvements in air quality across the region. And so we will all have contributed to taking important steps towards clearer skies for the people of Asia and the Pacific. With that, the conference is now officially closed. Thank you very much, and safe travels for those who return. Thank you.
And that concludes the Better Air Quality Conference 2026. Our heartfelt thanks to our speakers, panelists, moderators, session and pre-event organizers. We would also like to acknowledge BEQ local hosts and partners, our contributors, exhibitors, and poster presenters. Thank you all so much for making BEQ 2026 a success, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care, everyone.
Yes, we have another conference.
Which organization is from?
Yeah, from Indonesia.
Which organization?
Is it KPBB? We work about the monitoring about the fuel quality. Yeah.
What kind of organization?
The KPBB is pass out the lead gasoline. Yeah. But now we have focusing to the low sulfur in the diesel fuel in Indonesia about to Euro 4
Kindly
standard.
requesting all Clean Air Asia staff to please approach the stage for a team photo.
No, it's a company. This is NGO.
Can I see the card?
Oh, I have a card. But this is a different card with just a number. But this is the different organization. But this is my name. But I am chairman in the
For the group picture. Thank you so much.
This is for the focusing the walkability.
For Clean Air Asia staff, we will be taking photos in this sequence. One big staff picture from all of the offices, followed by an Indian office picture, Indonesia office picture, China office picture, and finally the headquarters office picture. Once again, requesting all Clean Air Asia staff from all offices to please approach the stage for the group picture. Thank you so much.
Hah? Siapa ya kontaknya? Belum. Yang sekarang ya?
Alright, for all of us to fit in the picture, may I please request for some of the staff to come up here on stage? There's still plenty of room up here. There's still plenty of room up here on stage for the photo.
Mau ikut berfoto nggak nih? Ya itu semua itu.
I could see you all conference. No, sure, no, we just came today. So they invited to come today. It's a pleasure meeting you guys. Oh, I did see.
Hello everyone, and I have some of the people upstage. Thank you. Yes, this is Clean Air Asia staff, all offices of Clean Air Asia. So if you are part of Clean Air Asia, please run up to the stage right now. Is everyone ready? Hello, calling on Clean Air Asia staff, please proceed to the stage and please locate the center stage. Thank you.
All Clean Air Asia staff, come up here, please. Okay, everyone, please look at EJ, who is speaking to the hotline right now.
May I request everyone to clear the center stage for everyone taking photos? Thank you.
Okay.
Next to take their group picture, the Cleaner Asia India office, please. India office. And then, guys, stay close by because after India, we'll have the Indonesia office, and then the China office, and then the Manila office. And of course, we'll have the afternoon. And after the Manila office, all Filipino delegates at the BAQ will have a group picture. Thank you so much. So after India, Indonesia, please prepare. Indonesia office, Indonesia office. Indonesia office, please come up here on stage for a picture. Sure, yes. Okay, that's fine. China office, please prepare. China office. After the China office, Manila office, and after Manila office, all Filipino delegates still in this room. Thank you so much. China office.
They're part of the family.
Manila office, Manila office. After Manila office, all Filipino delegates. And after that, the ADB can have the seat as well for the photo.
It shows some pressure and that's what it is.
Philippine delegates, Philippine delegates, Philippine delegates.
Okay, the ones in front, can you please give me a step forward? Forward, one step po, yung mga nasa harap. And then, the ones on the right side, can you please go to the back?
Habol pa ba ng mga Pilipino? Let's go, let's go! Okay, everyone in the front, one step to the left. Front lang. Okay, sir, you can go at the back, on the second row. Thank you. Thank you. Would the ABB like a picture here on stage? Hello everyone, can I please have ADB on the front? Thank you.
Hindi ka pa niya nakikita. Nasa mo lang.
Kaya yan lang. Tulungan lang. Amat sangat kaya nga eh. Like mo nila.
Requesting all ADB staff to please come up on stage for your group photo. ADB, all ADB staff for your group photo. Thank you.
Keren ya. Mel, kok pakai handphonenya Om dong, fotoin dari depan Mel. Dari sini aja. Tolong. Dari sini aja. Ke sini aja. Oh. Oh. Oke. Hi, madam. It's you. I'm still work. Yeah. Maybe in the.
Did you join us for the picture thing?
No. Thank you, madam.
Ay, bakit may pa-reserve tayo?
Em ปิดรูปได้ไหม
ไม่เกี่ยวกับของนะ
Barbie. Ha? Ang Barbie. It feels so beautiful. Like, ano ba yun? Kanino maganda? Kanino maganda? Sa batas. Sabihin.